Hey guys, Sean here. Michael Burry is a perma-bear. He has been calling for the end of the world and the collapse of the markets for a long time. But unlike many investors who are still buying in today, Burry has put his money where his mouth is. In his latest filings with the SEC, he has sold almost everything. All of his tech stocks like Meta, Google and Apple, they are gone. His holdings of healthcare and energy equities are also sold. He is nearly 100% out of the market, but he is putting $3.3 million into Geo, a prison stock. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Burry is betting on a societal collapse. He has bought into the prison industry, where the more people are put into prison, the richer he becomes. Now, it's one thing to bet against the economy like what he did back in the '08 housing crash and win big, but by selling everything off and going all in with private prisons, Burry is envisioning a future where crime is going to flood the system with more inmates. Now, the first part of a societal collapse normally starts with the economy, and it's tied to if you have a job and enough money to spend. Now, if you lose your job, you'll become broke, and if you're broke, you're more likely to commit a crime, and the more crimes that are committed, the more people will be sent to jail. Now, Michael Burry is setting himself up for this likely future, and he has been talking about spending drying up by December. He believes consumer sentiment is in the toilet and people are going to exhaust their savings. All that money is going to run out soon. Right now, we can see consumer spending reaching an all-time high. It looks like money is flowing across the economy and people are consuming more products and services. Unemployment dropping down to 3.5%, an all-time low, but we need to question the numbers. Spending is probably up because inflation is crazy high, and now we have record numbers of people working in 2 jobs just to survive. And that's why we are seeing such strong job numbers, right? People are working more because they have to, not because they want to. They need money to buy food and gas. In fact, a lot of the spending is done through credit cards, not cash. And this debt will have to be paid back sooner or later. Now, Burry believes this situation is going to turn as the Fed continues to hike interest rates up. And when it rises high enough, it's going to implode the economy and dry up spending. Now, we're talking about credit card debt defaulting, companies laying off people, and spending going down the drain. And this is going to crash the markets. In a recent tweet, Burry mentioned that the S&P will likely fall another 42%, like how he did back during the 2001 dot-com crash. So he's massively bearish and fighting back against all the analysts on Wall Street that are calling for the end of the correction. But Burry isn't just selling his stocks and waiting to get back at a lower price. He's on the offense and he's betting that chaos will flood the streets and the prison industry will grow. Now, I don't know about how your moral compass is set, but we are going to go through the reasons why Michael Burry is so bullish on incarcerations. But first, $3 million sounds like a lot to you and me, but it's chump change to Burry, and he's making more of a statement with his investment in Geo than anything else. So the Geo Group states that they are global leader in evidence-based rehab, which is a fancy term for private prison. They are in the business of building and operating prisons for the United States government. And the main way they make money is on a per inmate basis. So if it costs the private prison $200 a day to house an inmate and they bill the government $250, the $50 difference is their profit. Very simple. But it has to cost less than what the government would originally pay if it was to run publicly. So if they want to make more money, they can house more prisoners or get them to stay longer. This, however, can set up an incentive for offenders to keep coming back. Prisoners are the customers, and the more customers that enter the system, the more money is made. Now, almost immediately once Burry made his position public, Geo stock price rose by almost 17%, with people copying his trade. Now, people are beginning to see the writing on the wall about how unstable today's society really is. And once this recession becomes official and people start losing jobs, all hell could really break loose on these streets. But before you start piling into Geo stock, you need to understand that Michael Burry is also making a political bet. Burry is a strong conservative, regularly poking fun at the Democrats and Joe Biden on their absurd monetary policies. And his bet on Geo is a political bet that the Republicans will come back into power. He's betting that the Democrats will lose the midterm elections, possibly both the Senate and the House of Representatives, and most importantly, the presidency in 2024. And if that happens, the private prison industry will likely see a boom in business and their stock could really fly up. Now, there's a reason why the prison industry today is doing so badly. The stock is down by 70% over the last 5 years. Now, during Obama's term, private prisons were being phased out, and that caused the stock price to crater. Then Trump became president in 2016 and restored the private prison industry, which saw it rally to an all-time high. Now Joe Biden is aiming to shut down private prisons and abolish their use. But Burry believes all that will change as quickly as 2023, when Republicans take back the House and the Senate. And this is one big political risk that hangs over the Geo stock. So if you're looking to swan dive into prison investing, you need to be sure which party is going to win over the next 2 years. If it's Republican, Geo stock could soar to the moon, as now new contracts will be given to them and the prison industry will be further privatized. But the more alarming issue is how this recession will get worse down the road. And Burry's exit from all stocks is something we should pay attention to. He is active on Twitter defending his prison stock investment, telling everyone that private facilities are more humane with fewer prisoners in a private facility compared to federal prisons. Now, whether that's true remains to be seen. But we are likely going to enter a period of stagflation where inflation will continue to stay elevated and unemployment will start to go up. Now, there are many indicators blinking red, but the White House is milking the low unemployment figures. Biden is standing tall, taking credit for this so-called achievement. Biden went on record saying that 22 states, a record high, have unemployment rates at or below 3%, and 14 states now have their lowest unemployment rate on record. This is the latest sign that my administration's economic plan is working. But as we mentioned earlier, unemployment is a lagging indicator and how you calculate it is a big problem. There are many big names out there saying that this market crash isn't over yet and conditions could worsen. And just recently, Jamie Dimon got onto a call with their wealthiest clients, telling them a bipolar message, telling them that the economy is strong, but there are storm clouds on the horizon. So which is it? And he even put things into percentages, right? Saying that there's a 40 to 60% of this recession getting worse or even hitting the point of an economic crisis. So let's say you're looking to follow Michael Burry's end of the world bet and you're going to put money into Geo. Now, if that's the case, you need to be sure that the Republicans are going to win and that society will break down at the seams and crime will run rampant on the streets of America. We are talking about increased robberies or even rioting in the streets. And there's a good chance that this recession will continue to drag on and crime should correspondingly increase. In fact, there's going to be 87,000 new IRS agents running around, so there's probably an argument that an increase in tax crimes will be reported. And to me, this prison bet has too much of a risk which is political and it is profiting from misery. But if you're buying to this, I'm not one to judge, but understand that this is more of a speculative bet than a real value investment play. If somehow the Democrats win or the crime situation doesn't worsen, Geo stock will crash and burn. Just because the stock seems cheap today doesn't mean it won't fall in price. And I think it's important to note that Burry's 13F filings points to his positions at the end of June and we're already nearing September. And he could have sold off Geo after it spiked in price. But right now, Burry is sitting in cash. He's rock solid in his conviction that the market will crash. And if it does, or maybe when it does, he will come in and buy everything at a discount. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Is Michael Burry crazy to sell everything? Is Geo stock a good buy? Or is it a prison for your money? Let me know in the comments below. Stay safe and be sure to smash the like button and subscribe as we navigate through these crazy times.